stop at lunch. With Easy Cater, you've got great breakfast options, snacks, treats, and more. Whenever and wherever work happens, Easy Cater's here to make the food happen. Order now at easycater.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
From the Gregory Ricks and Associates Wealth Management Studios, WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeartRadio station.
Investors say they'll descend on Tesla dealers today. On Jack Callahan, Fox News. Federal government on high alert for vandalism against Tesla. Organizers calling it the Tesla Takedown Global Day of Action. They say they plan to hold rallies at more than 200 Tesla locations. A rise in violent incidents has caused the FBI to launch a task force to crack down on crimes targeting Tesla. A federal appeals court granting the Trump administration's motion to extend a stay allowing the Government of Department Efficiency to continue operating at the United States Agency for International Development. Last week, a federal judge in Maryland ruled efforts to halt USAID functions were likely unconstitutional and ordered its reinstatement. But a federal appeals court in Richmond, Virginia, Tuesday issued a stay of that order. Friday's decision extends the stay until the appeal is resolved. Doge founder Elon Musk explaining exactly what he's trying to achieve.
So what we're talking about is just like being able to pass an audit. It will enable taxpayers to know where the money is going and know that their hard-earned tax dollars are being spent well.
Musk appearing on Fox's special report with Brett Baer. The Pentagon appealing to the Justice Department, appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court, the deportation flights of dangerous members of foreign gangs.
That emergency DOJ appeal to the Supreme Court comes after a federal judge in D.C., James Boasberg, extended his temporary restraining order blocking those deportation flights until April the 12th. In his words, to, quote, permit the parties ample opportunity to address the legal and factual basis for continuing injunctive relief. So it also comes after a D.C. appeals court this week upheld Boasberg's temporary restraining order in a 2-1 decision, noting due process protection concerns for those targeted for deportation.
Fox's Jen Lee Painter, the Trump administration accuses Judge Boasberg of overstepping his authority. America is listening to Fox News.
Good morning. Welcome to Winning at Life. Live financial news talk radio. How's it going today? Election day for some listeners. I know in Orleans Parish, New Orleans, there's something to vote for. Some amendments. I'm not sure what's on the ballot. Go check it out. Might be in some of the areas. I don't know. That's kind of Louisiana thing, I think, that's going on today. Not all states. I was unaware of it till reading this morning. How's investing treating you? You bothered by the market yesterday? Hadn't thought about my 3 questions for today, but that's kind of one of them. Is that worrying you? How about the tariffs? Is that a concern? Are you thinking about buying a foreign car? Might be impacted. One of the things I did yesterday is kind of look at certain car manufacturers and seeing who builds what in the U.S. So some of it's kind of interesting, stuff that you didn't know was actually being manufactured here is. A lot of different car companies already do that. But then there's some, that don't. So it's one of the things, if you're going out car shopping or looking to do that a little bit down the road, might want to check to see where it's made. The ones made outside the U.S. going to cost more. There's a tariff, or you can consider it a tax. I do like the idea of supporting workers in America versus overseas. And I support manufacturing moving to the U.S. So it's just kind of like, I also support doing business local. I know because Amazon seems to handle everything now, but we still should support mom and pop stores, local. We should support local retail. Because one of the things about local retail is if you are looking to buy something and it's down the street, well, go down the street and buy it versus, I don't feel like getting out. It'll be here tomorrow or the day after. Think about that. Do you want that local option to go away? It is something I think about. Maybe you don't, but I guess that might be my third question today. Do you support local businesses? Is that in your thought process? We've got Dwayne Stein with us this hour. For those tuning in to Winning at Life, we're here till 1 o'clock. I am. I don't think Dwayne's going to stay with me to 1. I'm going to try to keep him a whole hour this hour. Hey, Dwayne, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Gregory, and great points on local. And I literally this week did just what you're talking about because, some of these onlines, they've made it easy, right? Order within the next hour and you get it tomorrow, right? And these bigger cities, they get that same day delivery. But, nothing like weed eating and the stringer run out, right? And, and you're like, well, I'll do that next time. And then you look back and the ditch is halfway done. And it's so easy to just go, all right, I'll do that. But, you get in your car and I think what you stated there is, what if they're gone, right? And, I headed over to my local hardware store and you have relationships in there. Hey, there's the dad cam guy and all that. And to me, that's important. And I think you hit it right on the head there. And for a few bucks or convenient, every now and then it's okay to get out and get some fresh air and talk to people and see how your neighbors are doing. It's kind of how I look at that. I look at it, almost create it like an outing, right? Like, hey, let's get out the house and let's go see some people here and go over to the hardware store, wherever it's going to be, but definitely local for sure.
Yeah, I like that, how you see that as well, because you need that kind of there's a lot of times the right now thing. And sometimes I just want to put my eyes on it as well on what I'm looking for. I like that. And it depends on how price conscious you may or may not be. But, Amazon, and this isn't to hate on Amazon. Amazon's changed the world. I feel better about them than I did a few years back. Right. I was kind of a hate on Amazon, but they've kind of moved in. That backstory is one of the companies that kind of blew it. They really did. When you start looking back, there was a company that started over 100 years ago. They started out of a railroad station selling watches. You know who that is? Sears.
Yeah, Sears Roebuck.
Yeah. Then they started selling suits, and they did it through newspapers, which was the means to find out. And then they would take in orders, and I remember reading about how they did the suits, and they were like overwhelmed by it. They couldn't meet demand, but it evolved into this giant company. After World War II, they started buying up land pre-positioned at the edge of cities and all, knowing that the highways were going to be through, because Sears was brilliant then too, because they hired a strategic person that understood how the country was going to get mapped out. And they started buying property, and that was kind of the invent of the big Sears box stores, and evolved into malls. But one of the I remember as a kid going in the Sears to the counter, and what they have, and we would have them in our homes, these giant catalogs.
Yep.
They were the mail order company for decades. And I remember when they canceled it, said we're canceling the catalogs and the ordering business like that. I thought initially when I heard that, I'm like, that's not a good idea. And it turns out, they had the capability to be Amazon.
Yeah.
But they didn't have anybody that could forward think and think critically in that way of where things were going with the internet. They just kind of threw in the towel. Heck, you could go there, get insurance, you could get brokerage, you could get your lawnmower,
pictures,
tires,
family pictures,
clothes.
I remember taking family pictures there.
I remember that too as a kid. I didn't like that one bit. Wasn't a fan of that. But yeah, it's just kind of like if you take your eye off the ball, you kind of got a problem, and that's what they did. And Amazon, and Bezos has already said he's built this big company that's going to go under one day. Yeah, and it's kind of like the evolution of all businesses over time. They don't all survive forever. It's just like, what was the big oil company turn of the century? Standard Oil. It doesn't exist in its form. And now, of course, it controlled 98% of the market back then, but that didn't work out well for them long range, but it did for quite a while. Amazon dominates now. But with that said, we got into a long story there, but I go back to, we need to support local businesses to some extent to keep them into the mix there. That's kind of my thought. I think Dwayne Stein's company there should be supported locally. They can go online, I guess, and get a mortgage, but it's not the same as sitting down with you and your team as well. So what do you see the differences in online versus what you do for folks?
That is an amazing question, Gregory, and it's something that I'm dealing with now more than ever. And as rates start to recede a little bit here, and where I'm really seeing it a lot is on the refinance side. When you're dealing with folks online who don't know neighborhoods, don't know people, don't know our towns, and don't have relationships, and doesn't know that area, and really just doesn't have an appreciation of neighbors, like you said, not neighborhoods, but not just knowing neighborhoods, but neighbors is, they're just the online. It's not personalized. And so many folks that I'm seeing, this online company offered me this, offered me that. What can you do? And then when you take the time to have a conversation and you're not just clicking on an app, you find out that what they're about to get into, number one, doesn't meet their needs. They're trying to sell a number on a piece of paper that in the end isn't giving them what they want. So you've got to be able to have conversations with people in this business. It's not click. Now, are a lot of applications done online? Yeah, sure, yes. But you've got to work with folks who know the market and take the time to find out what your needs are, not just throw out a number on a piece of paper. And so right now, so much the online experience that I'm seeing is people are throwing numbers out but not talking about up front what it costs to get a number, right? Because some folks right now, you can quote them in the fives on a refinance. Well, but what is that costing you to get there? Versus saying, listen, let's stand pat, let's look at it, let's wait a little bit more. Here's the trends where we're looking at. And if it's not something you got to do today, then let's look at those things. That's the biggest difference, is personalizing the process.
Man, great information. Let's talk more about that when we come back from the break. Check us out on Facebook Live. We're streaming there, and our YouTube channel, and reach out to us through the Winning at Life app. I am Gregory, your host of Winning at Life on iHeart Radio.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
Could this be your Social Security, your 401k, pension, lump sum, your debt, student debt, credit cards?
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years. Sometimes I'll pull over to the side of the road and just listen.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeart Radio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Gumbo Nation, this is Dwayne Stein. My team and I make dreams come true daily. Buying a home could seem stressful if working with the wrong lender. Mortgage Gumbo removes that with our exclusive pre-approval process called Fast Track. Don't let other lender horror stories scare you, like last-minute turndowns leaving you homeless. Get your exact buying power so you can shop with confidence. When buying a home, you don't want a lender right most of the time. With Fast Track, we get it right all the time. Visit snapsendandsave.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can hear the Ask Gregory podcast, where you'll find episodes based on a financial topic. So if you're looking for help on a specific situation, there's a good chance you'll find it on the Ask Gregory podcast, including episodes on 401ks, taxes, stocks, Social Security, gold, and whether or not you should buy an RV. Hear the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
2 questions. Do you have a pulse? Do you own anything? If you said yes to both, you probably need a will. You may even need a trust. We all know a lawyer. Do you know someone who specializes in estate planning? Do you really trust the husband of your sister's friend from college? Or would you feel better putting your family in the hands of the estate planning attorney of the Total Wealth Authority? I'm Wes Blanchard. What's your plan? Offices in Metairie and at wjblanchardlaw.com.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
If you do not have money set aside, you do not have retirement assets, you don't have significant savings, you're thinking, well, when should I turn on Social Security? I'll answer that for you right now. You should probably work as long as you possibly can and as much as you can, because that means you defer Social Security as long as you can up to age 70. And you can keep working past that. That's fine. But at age 70, you have to turn it on because you've maximized it there. And you've created the largest possible payment, and you're going to need all of that.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Find us on the Winning at Life app or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Yeah, the boys round here drinking that ice cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys
Welcome. Voice caught me there. Welcome back. Winning at Life, live financial news talk radio. I have Dwayne Stein with us this hour, host of Mortgage Gumbo of mortgagegumbo.com fame there. Local celebrity in the mortgage business. Kind of, isn't it cool to go to a store and be known?
Always.
Maybe get a little extra help.
Yep.
But you always have to be nice. You can't get upset about anything.
Yeah.
Maybe shouldn't give your opinion all the time.
I can't imagine, Gregory, what it's like to be you, because I know what I get, and so at my level. So to be you and the Drew Breeses of the world, I can only imagine having always watched my P's and Q's. And
You went too far there.
Right?
I'm
No,
not in that same ballpark.
No, not quite.
No.
All right.
No. That's funny, but it has its benefits.
Yeah.
Maybe its drawbacks sometimes. But I enjoy it, and what it means is we've connected with our community, and we're a part of it, and a great part of it, because what we really want to do is help people, and that's one thing I spoke with my team about the other day. And I've just kind of been thinking about it. And I said, you know what we really are in the business of? And some people, well, you're a financial service company. You're an advisory firm. You have a radio show. And I said, yeah, you can name all those things, but the business I'm in is the happiness business.
Yeah.
I want people to be happy. I want what they're coming to us for. I want that ending is they feel good about it. They're happy about it. Client services, y'all are in charge of happiness. So, the kind of the end results. Folks need to be taken care of. It needs to be a pleasure to do business with us. It leaves them feeling good. That's if we really shrink it down, that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. In the mortgage business, they want to feel good about getting that home and getting it financed and be comfortable with that, have a great experience. And at the end, what are they?
Homeowners.
And they're happy.
Happy. Oh, yeah, happy. Well, and Gregory, to piggyback off of that, what we talk about with my team is we get it. To make that phone call, to go, all right, I'm ready to be a homeowner, and to make that decision. Well, people know maybe they missed a bill 20 years ago when they were in college, right? So the thought of home ownership a lot of times is stressful. But what my team and I try to make sure we get across is the process doesn't have to be, right? And that's what I can control, is the process of getting you to home ownership. And that comes with, if we make that process simple, then yes, they're happy at the end, right? Everybody's always smiles at the table, and that's the goal, right? Is to get them to the table happy, understanding, and making sure that that process was one that they understand, because it is their largest investment, most valuable asset, and a wealth building tool. So we want to make sure that we're doing that for them.
And they do have to think about that. That is part of wealth building, because we know real estate goes up over time. Why? Well, just look at history. There's no absolute guarantee for anything in the future, but foreseeable, I can't see it not continuing to go up. They don't build no more land. Houses are in short supply. Folks are getting out of school every year, whether it's high school or college, getting into the workforce, getting married, and kind of that thinking is they've got to have a place to live. And to put their stakes down and build equity there, and it also gives you financial security. We can't save up to write a check for a house. The average home's what, $400,000? That's a crazy number.
Yeah.
There, but we know it's going to increase in value over time. And let's just say I'm wrong about increasing in value at the rate that it's been. Maybe it slows. But you're still going to have value. You are creating equity as you pay down the mortgage, and you don't have to wait to 30 years to pay it off. They throw in an extra house note a year with a side gig. What does that get them to? 19 years payoff?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and if you just do the biweekly payments, right, you take a 30-year down in 24 years. Then if you kind of usually what I tell people, I can show them how to round it up where it becomes a 20-year term, right? And a lot of that is folks are just unaware of that and doing the biweekly payments. Or like you said, maybe somebody gets paid once a month, right? Like on my teachers, what I'll tell them is, hey, look, let's just take your payment. If it's $1,000 a month, let's multiply that by one more payment by 13 and then divide by 12, right? And then that's what if you make that, then it's the same thing. So there's different ways to beat it. And Gregory, it's funny because the numbers are starting to come out, and when you see appreciation levels and home values continue to go up and home appreciation, and, you're looking at in January, new homes were up 4.8%, 4.1%. Existing homes are over 4%, and you go, my gosh. And this is when we're dealing with 7% rates. So as these rates come down, and you and I have been talking about this for years, it's going to be a free-for-all. But it's not going to be a free-for-all like we had in 2019 and 2020. But people are like, well, I just don't know if there's value there with my house only appreciating at 5-6% a year. And that's because they're coming off hearing of these 19 and 20% home appreciations. That was that oasis. It was that mirage, right, that we had due to COVID in 2019 and 2020. So there's a lot of changes there that folks have to understand, and you've said this before. It's home ownership. It's the long game, right? Not for the fix and flippers, but it's the long game, and it's knowing, do you have a plan, and sitting down with somebody and going over that and showing how to build the wealth over time. And I think that's the biggest thing there is, in the long run, if you want a crystal ball, there's a reason why the wealthiest folks out there all delve in real estate, right? I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah, kind of twofold. Doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a whole bunch of properties and stuff. So as your means increases, you might want to hold that. But I'm also not a believer in, let's say, if you're wealthy, hypothetically, get up into the top 1-2%. I still couldn't say, let me, and we hear about those folks that have homes all over the country. I'm like, what a nightmare that must be to have to keep up and deal with. They obviously have to have enough money to pay somebody to take care of that. Because could you imagine trying to upkeep and deal with 3 or 4 homes yourself? I think one's a pretty big deal from that standpoint. So that's not the average person's goal, but the average person is to have equity in their home and build and save investments outside of that. It is a multi-pronged program that you should have a home, build equity, invest for retirement, but also accumulate non-qualified assets, meaning savings and after-tax dollars that you're accumulating that you have access to also do things first. So it's kind of like, get you a home and make sure you pay yourself first and you take out money for the future. Just a thought there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Greg, I could tell you, we're making it easier and easier to grow your portfolio. So when you start talking about how these folks have homes in other states and all that, I mean, we now have programs, and we've talked about this in the past. It's called a DSCR, debt services cash ratio. It's basically a cash flow loan where, Gregory, you can now buy investment properties and you put down 20%. We don't verify income. And, I brought this up a couple weeks back. Now
wow.
Rates have started to fall.
Repeat that again.
Yeah, so you can purchase an investment property. Now, your minimum payment, your down payment's going to be 20%. We have some 15% options, but let's just say 20%. We put 0 for income. It is solely based on, is that property that you're buying, does it bring in a positive cash flow? And that's it. That's all we care about. We don't care about, I've done these things where if you look at what the true ratio would be if you added all their debts, they're at 1,500%. But what these are based on is, can you go get an investment property, put down 20%, and we don't have to verify income. I don't need your business taxes, your personal taxes, your write-offs, none of that. We put zero, nothing. Basically, give you a mirror, you fog it, and we go from there. And it is amazing. And this is a loan that now that rates have started to recede, that people are taking advantage of and able to get in, and we're doing tons of these. And it could be a single-family home, Gregory, up to a fourplex that's bringing in income. And it's amazing because, like I said, it's all about cash flow. So if your payment's $1,000 and you're bringing in $1,250, then that's 1.25 is your factor. Your rate's going to be lower than if your payment's $1,000 and you're going to bring in $1,000, right? So it's all based on cash flow, and we can do those. And all we need to do is, once we get the application, we look at it, and you see what LLC, personal name, however you want to do it. So it's a way to start building and becoming a mogul.
Awesome. Great information. We're going to take a break. I want to come back. Let's talk about interest rates and where does Dwayne see them going and where's the sweet spot right now to move forward and build equity in a home. This is Winning at Life on iHeartRadio. We'll be right back.
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
I have a broker. He has no idea what you and I just talked about.
From your 401k to your IRA to your pension to your Social Security to your Medicare.
Hi, Greg. Appreciate your service to the community.
From your ETFs to your precious metals.
The program helps to ground me. There's some personal, real life there.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts, probably.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Hey, I love your show.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
What does your ideal retirement look like? Is it traveling the world, fishing whenever you want, spending time with the grandkids, or maybe you don't know yet? Hi, I'm Gregory Ricks. Let us help you plan the retirement you deserve. Give us a call or go to GregoryRicks.com to schedule a visit. We are Gregory Ricks & Associates, the Total Wealth Authority.
The firm provides insurance services, investment, and advisory services. Offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management, LLC. Gregory Ricks & Associates are not affiliated companies.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can listen to the show live, or you can hear a replay of the latest episode of Winning at Life. Whether you're getting a late start on your retirement savings or keeping up with the financial news, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is there on demand. Hear the Winning at Life show on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
We are living in historic times, extraordinary times. A lot of people need help right now, and I want you to remember your local food bank. Now here in New Orleans, it's Second Harvest Food Bank. Over in Mobile, they've got Feeding the Gulf. But you can find your local food bank, feedingamerica.org. Food donations, monetary donations, or I know you've got some free time. Find your local food bank. Support your local food bank, especially in times like this. Do some good. feedingamerica.org.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is a copyright of Down South Strategies for the private use of our audience. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without express consent is prohibited. For podcasts, show information, and contacts to our sponsors, go to winningatlife.com or download the Winning at Life app. If you have a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. VA sends a weekly email to over 13 million veterans that's jam-packed with amazing resources. Subscribe for free at va.gov/vet resources.
Fox News. I'm Jack Callahan. Opposed to DOGE, protesters are targeting Tesla today.
The group is calling today a global day of action against the car maker. According to the Tesla Takedown website, the group wants people to, quote, sell your Teslas, dump your stock, and join the picket lines.
Fox's Madison Scarpino. The Justice Department has promised to crack down on violence against Tesla and its owners and those who support the violence. Another close call near Washington's Reagan National Airport.
Friday's event between a commercial
plane and an Air Force T-38 jet. Happened just after Delta Flight 2389 took off for Minneapolis. Fortunately, the Delta jet received a cockpit collision warning alert, and air traffic controllers were able to issue corrective instructions.
Fox's Carmen Roberts. America is listening to Fox News.
Welcome back. Winning at Life. Live Financial News Talk Radio. We got 2.5 hours to go of the show. I've got some Social Security stuff I'm going to speak with you for next hour. Some investing ideas. You know, try to help you out with your money. Money's a great thing to have. We just need more of it. Struggling, no fun. Having money, fun. Having money, happiness. Having a home, happiness. Having a mortgage paid off, even happier. What you think, Dwayne?
Yeah, I agree. Hey, look, money's right up there with air and water in most cases. So and if you got enough of it, you'll just ship that in too. So absolutely.
Yeah, help reduce worries. So what's going on with interest rates now?
Look, I think the trend is our friend. What we've been seeing really over the last 6 weeks, we've been steadily, we've dipped below 7, and really over the month of March, we got into that 6.7 range, and that's kind of where we're hanging out. And I'm talking about from a conventional loan standpoint. But, yeah, over the last 4 weeks, we've been right at 6.79, 6.75 area. And, that's a lot better than sitting at 7.1 or 7.25. So I think the trend right now is our friend. There's a lot of factors right now that I think are going to be assisting with rates. And one of the things I tell people all the time, mortgage rates do not need the Fed from a federal fund standpoint. However, they work off of life events and world events. And when we talk about tariffs and these reciprocating tariffs, like you said in your opening monologue, I'm all about help America. And I think these tariffs are going to do that. And what we're seeing is when tariff talks and stuff like that get chatted about, I don't think the stock market, and this is more on your end, the stock market likes it as much, but the bond market does. And, so what we're seeing is people kind of flee to a little bit of safety, and we start to see that because when they buy the treasuries, the bond market falls. And so we're getting a little bit of benefit of that. It's just right now everything's so all over the place every day. I was telling a client yesterday, Gregory, I mean, the mortgage industry over the last 2.5 years, I mean, it's been absolutely, I mean, we went 10 years where you came in and the rates were what they were. You didn't have to worry about, should we lock, should we not lock? Now rates are changing 2-3 times a day. And so it separates the contenders from the pretenders, right? And again, it's what I tell my folks. Is your lender looking out for you? Do they know what's coming up? What information that could impact your rate? Because the pain of your rate going up is always a lot more than the euphoria of it going down. And what I mean by that is me telling you, hey, we locked you in at 6.75 versus going, hey, we didn't lock and it's at 6.85. That hurts a lot more than we 6.75, but we could have got you 6.70, right? So that's what I tell people when we're looking at this. So the trend right now, I like it. I think as more comes out, this next week's going to be huge because it's the jobs report. And I think we're going to see unemployment continue to go in the wrong direction, unfortunately. And I think that's where I think we're going to see bonds, more people heading to bonds as we get a little bit more pain on the jobs report. So we shall see.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more worry. There's a little bit more pain coming. I've spoke about that. We have to correct the things from previous administrations, and it wasn't just the last one. The last one, my opinion, was pretty bad, but it was just throwing money at everything, which didn't help with inflation, and we cannot spend ourselves into oblivion. Having, a $1 trillion deficit plus trillion plus deficit spending cannot keep going. It was interesting on the special report by Brett Baer that was interviewing Musk, and I saw a piece. He spoke about it both nights on the interview a little bit differently, but the country has to do better. And last night, what he discussed when Brett asked him, what worries you? And there was 2 points, and one of them is about the U.S. doing well, because I'm going to have to go back and watch it again, because I did record it, because I thought this is a couple of intense things he shared. But he basically looks at the U.S. as the main column supporting everything. He says if the U.S. goes away, and then he started naming off other countries, I said they're going to go away too. The rest of the world kind of evolves around what the U.S. does. It's kind of one of the main supports there, and so the U.S. has to do well. Another thought, which was, I figured he was going to bring this up, but he was talking about the birth rates being down. And he kind of pinpointed South Korea is really down. They're negative on birth rates. And he said if this continues, 3 generations from now, their population will be 3 to 4% of what it is today. And I thought I heard that wrong the first time, so I played it back and listened to it again, and I'm like, wow. And I went and did the math, and that's somewhere around 70 to 90 years out. We won't be around, but that's pretty impactful if it goes the other way. So this country has to be fixed, and we need to think about that. And no matter what your opinion is, the government cannot keep spending more than they take in. Something's going to break. You might not like how it's changing things, but they have to quit spending more than they take in. Tell me, how would your household run, Dwayne, if you spent 20% consistently more than what you take in, and you got to keep going to the bank and keep getting more money, and at some point, I would think that implodes for you.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about that so many times on this show, and more. Look, we've joked about it, but my gosh, once you start hearing the actual numbers as the sheets are being pulled back here, it's amazing. We've talked about, hey, the Fed, I would love to get a hold of that printing press. It never runs out of ink. It never runs out of paper. The electricity never stops. I mean, and it just prints that money time and time again. And I think a lot of folks got used to Uncle Stimulus, right? And what's it going to take? And other things on top of that, Gregory, that may not be called stimulus, but when you start looking at, student loans and having a moratorium for over 3 years where you don't have to make payments. Well, you know what that turns into, Gregory, and it came out this week. That turns into 9.7 million. Almost 20% of student loan borrowers are delinquent, right? So that's what so this is the effect of when you go, hey, government, this, that, and the other, right? This is the effect, because I don't know anybody out there who has been, if they don't have to make a payment, was going, hey, let's keep putting this on the side for when they do tell us we have to, right?
Yeah.
And these are the things that now are rearing their head. And I think that's why, as a consumer, what kind of worries me, and because I see the credit reports every day, is, I think you're going to start to see some credit scores hurt a little bit here and there. And those are the things where some of this stuff here we've got to scrape our knees. We're learning how to walk again, right? We're learning a lot of things. So it's going to come with some pain. It's going to come with some frustration. But I think if we're doing it the right way, anytime you do something the right way, you're going to see the benefits be more stable long term. And I think the housing market is going to see that. And I think consumers as well, as we go through this, are going to see it as also.
Well, it has impacted these folks that have gone to college and borrowed money and created this debt that they've got to pay back. Whether or not they're making payments on it, they still have to deal with it. But it's affected their ability to buy houses, to save money, maybe even buy a car, maybe get married. All this stuff is kind of affected by that. What are you seeing?
Let me explain when we talk about student loan, because there's a way we could do this. And if you're listening and you go, heck, I missed the student loan payment.
Can you hold that thought?
Yep, you will.
Because this is some good stuff coming from Dwayne Stein, and I don't want it interrupted. Awesome show we're having here. We've got 2 more hours to go after this segment. Thanks for joining us. Check us out at GregoryRicks.com, Facebook Live. We're streaming, and on our YouTube channel. We're going to take a short break. Be right back with more from Dwayne Stein.
If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
I started my retirement about 5 years ago, and I truly am late in life.
Would I be better to just withdraw the money out of my TSP and pay that mortgage off?
My problem is I have champagne tasting of your salary. What is a balloon note?
Is that cutting it too close?
So will I still be eligible for Medicare?
Is there anything better I can do with the money I transferred into the Roth from my 401k? My goal is to retire at age 60. I'm 54 right now.
Hey, I have a 9-year-old son, and he's got probably $2,500 in. Is there anything we can invest it in?
And I just started a 401k a little late in life.
The match should be like 10%.
Now, how far in advance do you recommend that someone goes to visit the Social Security office?
I won some money in a casino playing poker.
Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
When I was growing up, my mom relied on old wives' tales to get rid of outdoor bugs. One method included putting 2 pennies in a bag of water and hanging them throughout the backyard. And let's not forget Mom's go-to, the citronella candle, which never worked. It's the 20s. We have science and much more thorough ways to get rid of bugs. Call Mosquito Joe. Mosquito Joe has this time-release capsule that they spray that slowly releases their mosquito death over a course of a month. Because mosquitoes suck. NewOrleans.MosquitoJoe.com.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I'm your host, Gregory Ricks, a financial advisor here to answer your questions and help you win with your money.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Simple information from good people.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
I'm young. I'm 22 years old, and I'm just now starting to get into the 401k and the percentage and stuff. Now, how much money do I need to save to, retire at around, 60, 65 years old?
So first off, one of the first rules, if you're getting a match, you need to get 100% of the match. The match is free money. Those that are turning on their 401k because I need that money every month. No, you need to get the match. That's the priority. What's great for you is you're taking advantage of one of the greatest things on the planet, and that's compound interest and time. At age 22, you're not going to have to put away a lot to achieve this goal versus if you wait to 35 or 40, it's going to seem like a mountainous task.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Find us on the Winning at Life app or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Welcome back. We've got Dwayne Stein with us here on Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. He's going to be with us a few more minutes. I interrupted him at the break. I didn't want to get into it in 10 seconds, have to cut him off. So Dwayne, Here you go.
Yep. So what we were talking about is just, the economy, right? And we're talking about the government and how we're having to sort of them getting out of our household. And 9.7 million student loans are delinquent. And what are the effects? And what I'm seeing, and I don't want folks to think if they've missed a student loan payment, they can't buy a house. That's not what that means at all. But when you have these moratoriums that go on forever, it's hard to start figuring out what is your budget, because nobody goes, hey, here's what I should be paying, but they're deferring it so I don't have to pay it. Well, when you're doing mortgages, even though something's deferred, we still have to have a calculation. And depending on what your loan program, it could be 0.5% or 1%. Well, when you go delinquent, it becomes 5%. So if you've got a student loan, for instance, Gregory, or Winning at Life Nation, and let's say it's $1,000, okay? And that's, let's face it, that's small for a student loan. If you've got a $1,000 student loan, normal, and we do an FHA program, we've got to consider 0.5% of that. That's $5. If it's a conventional, it's 1%. Well, that's $10. But if you're delinquent, now we've got to do 5% of that. So that's $50. Well, you could see just on that small amount the difference it makes. And then when that starts going up, well, now we start getting into your buying power. And then what has to happen is, and this is what we're seeing now, it's called pyramiding. And people want to buy houses. I get it. Nobody wants to go past due, Gregory. I think we can admit that. Nobody gets a loan or something and goes, you know what, I can't wait to not pay somebody. But what happens is during these times is we've got to make decisions. And a lot of debt is being pyramided. You could see it with credit card delinquency. And what we mean by that is you're using Discover to pay Amex, MasterCard to pay Visa. And imagine a pyramid starts wide where you've got all this credit available, and then a pyramid gets to a point where now you've got nothing left. So that goes into your budget and your buying power. And once something's delinquent on your credit or derogatory, we've got to calculate it differently. So imagine if you miss a car note and it reports you delinquent. Well, if the payment's normally $500, now we've got a $30,000, $40,000 balance that we've got to do 5% on that. Well, that's a game changer. So I think what we're seeing with the Feds doing and getting this right, it's gonna help alleviate a lot of this. But that's sort of what I'm seeing when you go, hey, what are we seeing in the mortgage world? That's something there. Now, that doesn't mean you hear that and you go, oh, no, oh, gosh. But because that's where you trust me, and it's my job to figure out what is your buying power, or how can we overcome this, or what can we move around to get a credit score up to overcome that delinquency. And that's the biggest thing, Gregory, when we're talking about knowing who you're working with, is understanding, can they do it? But number one, do they have the program to do that? And we're seeing it. Application volume is way up, way up. And competition is increasing. And as competition increases for home buyers, and this is what I'm explaining to folks, that means competition's increasing, meaning, and Gregory, I think we talked about this last time on your show, this isn't Dwayne just going to look to buy Gregory's property anymore. Now you've got John, Bill, Sarah, and Susie who are going to look at Gregory's property. So who do you think has the advantage at that point? It's the seller. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's now what we're telling. This is totally different, and this is where we've just seen rates get into the 6, 7. Imagine what it's going to be if these things fall another 0.25%. Not only is it going to be amazing for everybody who did buy, because the married a house, date the rate, you're going to be able to trade in and fall in love with your home all over again. But as these purchases come, you've got to be ready to go, and you've got to understand what you're dealing with. And we've got a lot of folks who a house is for sale and it's sitting on the market for 120 days, which is not a bad thing in today's market, because people want to sell, don't have to, because they're sitting on 2.5%. Somebody's going in and the house is worth 300, and they're trying to offer 265. They're not even getting responses, Gregory. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't. Nobody's going to do that. But now Gregory's house has 4, 5, 6 people looking. You've got to make sure that you're coming with a strong offer and knowing what it's going to take to get in that home.
So wherever you are in life, you have to look forward, thinking on decisions today. You know, this, and we'll go back to folks in school, borrowing money, living off that. And you need to change your thinking now and dial back this borrowing. It is going to hurt you. It's going to haunt you, and it's going to impact your ability to accumulate wealth in the future. You're going to limit how much you can save because you got to pay on that debt. It's going to limit your ability to buy a house. It's probably going to create stress as well. So you have to think about these things. And that's one thing I was going to mention earlier about, you know, handing out the money and then the forgiveness of student debt. Now, they're doing that, but they never talked about fixing the core problem. And I think if you just say, hey, yeah, you can borrow whatever you need to go to school, that's a problem because then people will borrow whatever they can and like, hey, I don't even have to work. I'm just going to school, borrowing it. I'll deal with that later. And that's going to be a monster. There needs to be limits on that. You shouldn't be living the life while going to college. You should be struggling financially, meaning you shouldn't have excess money.
Well, and you got to remember the purpose you're there, right? What is the goal? And, you know, one last thing too, Gregory, and I don't know how much you hear about this or see this, but, you know, we live in think about your radio show, all the years it's been on how much things have changed on how you get the information out there. We are in a I want it now environment. And I've told people, you know, the new devil in disguise is the buy now, pay later. And it's amazing. But just last week, now DoorDash just signed on with Klarna, which is the largest buy now, pay later. Gregory, these folks, you can now get your food delivered and pay it in four monthly installments.
No.
Yes. And that's the point I'm trying to get people to understand. And if they're doing that, Gregory, that tells you they don't have any credit limit left, right? They're maxed out on credit card. If you're having to finance your burritos, right, or your stuffed crust pizza, then and these are the things that your show and my show, and I don't want to sound negative. I want folks to understand that this is equivalent to you showing that cell phone company, I'll show you, I just won't pay you, and your credit score drops 30 points.
I have to say, Dwayne, that's a bad sign for DoorDash and those if they're going to finance food purchases, because it tells me they're having to come up ways to drum up more business. They're not getting enough business. They're not making enough profit. So if we can increase business 5% this way or whatever, but they're going to end up having to eat that. And they have some liability on whoever's backing them on fight because they're using a backer to carry that note, so to speak. And at one point, and they're probably liable for it, just like the consumer's liable for what they're creating. But at some point, I think this is going to be a problem. It's too much debt. You shouldn't be doing that.
And we see those popping up now on, their claim is, oh, it doesn't report to credit bureaus unless it's past due. Guess what's starting to show up on credit bureaus? PayPal, Affirm, Klarna, you know what I'm saying? Because folks can't pay their 4 monthly finance. Or, heaven forbid, if it's a $100 item, they don't pick 4 months. They pick 12 months. Well, that becomes a reportable debt. And that's what's showing up. So then when you miss one, boom, over something silly. So, you know, they can't come in to your stomach and get your Taco Bell back, right, that you got at 1 in the morning. But I think what you're looking at here is that it's either a cash grab or they're starting to understand that is there going to be some future delinquency debt? What are more ways to get our hands in the cookie jar to try and make as much? You know, hey, if we finance the $12 over 4 payments, If we get $4 back, does that make us money? I don't know. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't get it. But it's crazy.
Here's another. I talk about the cash report concept, the budget audit as well, to see what you're spending. Is it increasing or is it reducing? How's your cash looking on a monthly basis? Is it increasing, staying the same, or lowering? And just talking to you now, just like, I don't know why I haven't had this as another metric. How is your short-term credit? This does not include your mortgage. This can be your car loans, your credit cards, anything you're doing short debt, your financing of your food. How is that on a monthly basis? Is that increasing, staying the same, or going down? Just like your cash report. Is it increasing, staying the same, or going down? Kind of gives you a heads up. Something's wrong. I think that's something we got to add into that discussion going forward. How can they reach you, Dwayne?
Very simple. Go to mortgagegumbo.com. Have a good one, my man. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you. You always bring it. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
We're going to take a short break. This is Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. We'll be back for hour 2 of Winning at Life.
From the Gregory Ricks and Associates Wealth Management Studios, WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station.
Madison Scarpino reports.
These protesters are a part of the so-called Tesla takedown, and the group is calling today a global day of action against the car maker. According to the Tesla takedown website, the group wants people to, quote, sell your Teslas, dump your stock, and join the picket lines. They're protesting Musk's role in Doge. He spearheaded severing government agencies, but Musk says this is an effort to expose waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. There have been plenty Tesla protests leading up to today. The Tesla takedown group wants these protests to be peaceful and say it opposes any violence or destruction of property.
But 3 people have been charged with arson for setting fire to Tesla vehicles and charging stations. The Trump administration has called those incidents domestic terrorism and has established an FBI task force to investigate them. Vice President Vance visiting the U.S. space base in Greenland yesterday as the administration pushes the island's strategic importance.
Vice President J.D. Vance says he respects Greenland's self-determination, but he also says the U.S. will do a much better job of protecting this semi-autonomous territory than Denmark.
Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people. We hope that they choose to partner with the United States because we're the only nation on earth that will respect their sovereignty and respect their security.
Vance framed the importance of Greenland as a matter of national security, saying it's the service members there that would notify the U.S. if a missile were.
Welcome to Winning at Life. This is your financial news talk radio station. Bring the show to you every Saturday. We started at 10 a.m. as we do every week and go to just about 1 p.m. with our breaks kind of about every quarter hour. Been doing this for, we're getting close to 15 years now. Conceptually, the show, 15 years at this point. We were talking 15 years ago, we were talking about how this would look and evolve. All I can say is, wow. No idea other than I was worried, how am I going to do a live talk radio show when I've not done that before? A lot of public speaking, but to speak into a mic every day, well, not every day, but that happened over time as well, because we also did almost 7 years the daily wrap in the middle of this 15 years of doing the Saturday show. It started a 9 a.m. show that evolved into a longer show that then became from 10 to 1. And gosh, I really enjoy bringing this to you, sharing ideas. One of the great things I talked with Dwayne about, and he comments about the feedback you get from the public. And I think that is tremendous. That means we're doing some good. We're bringing happiness to folks. We're comforting them with knowledge and information. And the reason they're happy is it makes life better. Hope to continue to do this for a long time. But what's important is kind of what's going on right now. I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, and David on my board just kind of sent me over a text, and we do have a little bit going on that, in case you're not aware of, and actually it was off my radar until my reading this morning, and essentially we've got an election today. There's 4 amendments out there. I'm not going to go into that because it's too deep, and I'm not one to advise you or help you on what to decide, but this is for our March 29th ballot. There are 4 amendments on the ballot. So they're looking to make a little bit of changes, and you get to have some input on that. So the kind of skinny on this is voters are being asked to consider 4 amendments to the Louisiana Constitution in this spring's election cycle. Today, the issues involve taxes, government spending, debt payments, specialized courts, juvenile crime, and vacancies in judgeships. Lawmakers passed the 4 amendments in a special legislative session in November. The House and Senate created a special statewide election to consider these amendments. So it's important. Each proposal had received 2/3 favorable vote in the House and Senate to reach the ballot. Now each amendment needs a majority vote at the polls to get enacted. So that's me handing that off to you to evaluate if you want to take time to read about it and then go to your local ballot and make a decision on that. I don't have any bias towards it. I've got a little bit more research to do. I'll do that after 1 o'clock myself. So with that said, my focus this morning was, as every Saturday morning, is making sure I'm prepared to put on the Winning at Life show and have some financial talks with you today. More, if you're new to the show, a little bit about me. I've been in financial services in some form my adult life. Worked for many companies, created some companies, and my latest version that I've been doing for quite a long time now is founder, CEO of Gregory Ricks and Associates, a Total Wealth Authority, advisors and retirement strategies. And the goal is help people save and grow their money and make better decisions, and help them with income planning, investment allocation selection, also tax strategies, just overall to help you win with your money and find happiness in that. At our firm, one of the focus is to make sure you're looked out for, that you get sound advice, that you have a sounding board to talk things over. And if you're unsure, we're the group of people you can also go talk to and say, well, I was thinking about this. What if I did this? We're going to have some reasoning. And one of the things unique about us as a firm, oh my gosh, I don't know how many plans we've built, but I'll just say it's in the thousands. Versus I had somebody ask, why should I use a financial advisor? And this is often the question when I speak publicly. But one of the easiest questions to ask back is, how many plans have you built? Typical answer is either 0 or 1. From the person kind of asking, should I get help? Maybe you should utilize somebody that's done this a lot. Because what you have to worry about is, what is it you don't know? What is it you're not aware of? Because I'll ask you then another question. How many times do you have to get this right? You really only have one shot at it. You get it wrong, you run out of money. So you also need to have this ability to see where things are headed. What does this look 5, 10, 15 years out? And you always have to have that look. You can be 10 years into retirement, and what's the question? How's it looking 5, 10, 15 years out? And if you're making changes, you have to think about impacts down the road, whether it's increasing income, making some bad investment decisions, helping somebody out with some of your money. If you don't get that back, what's the impact of that? Living longer than you expect is something you have to think about. Who are you using for help from that? One study by Dalbar basically showed that advisors helping people in general, a person using a financial firm, a quality firm that has their best interest in mind, which is a requirement for us, averaged 3% more in return over time. And then tax strategies that we use increases another 70 basis points over time. And then with some of the rules that you have in place regarding the new rules of inheriting money, you're probably going to leave behind qualified money. What's the impact? How's that going to be taxed? Do you want it taxed at that rate? Or would you like to build a strategy that you leave behind something awesome? We should be expecting to leave money behind, because even if you're of the one, they're going to be fine, they do well, I just don't plan to leave anything behind. I don't know how you zero that out when you die, unless you're planning to be broke before you die. I need you as a soundboard, because how do you do that? How do you make sure you die with zero money? You have to expect to leave some behind to get that right. We just don't know when we're going to die. But also on the other side, we have to anticipate living longer than we expect. I can get into my talk from last week on the show about medical science and where things are going. The genome has only been mapped for about 10 years now. Medical science is advancing at a pretty fast pace. You might not be aware of that, but I have an awareness of that, of how technology is impacting that. AI is going to impact that. It is going to get better. We got to start thinking about medicine 3.0. And medicine is going to evolve into being more proactive versus reactive. And my guidance to you from a medical standpoint, tied in with your retirement planning is you should shift to a mode of being more proactive from a health standpoint, is making sure you see your doctor every year, even if you're not sick. That's called proactive, getting a whole bunch of blood work done, other tests, x-rays, whatever your doctor's going to do, proactive. And if your doctor's not proactive, go find a doctor that's proactive on looking out for you and making sure everything is in normal ranges. And if it's not, you need to fix it. If something's going to go wrong, when would you like to know? It's the same thing with your car. Do you want that red light to pop on and do something about it, or do you want to wait till it just quits on you somewhere? That's not a good situation to be in. I want to be proactive with my car. I want a heads up. I don't want to be broken down side the road. It's kind of dangerous to have that happen. With our life, we want to be proactive, which means you're probably going to live longer. And we've got to be prudent with our money and have somebody that's a sounding board to help us make better decisions. Reach out to the office, 504-832-9200, and get a visit started to start having a conversation, or go to GregoryRicks.com. We're going to take a short break. Be right back in about 3 minutes.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
Could this be your Social Security, your 401k, pension, lump sum, your debt, student debt, credit cards?
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years. Sometimes I'll pull over to the side of the road and just listen.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Gumbo Nation, this is Dwayne Stein. My team and I make dreams come true daily. Buying a home could seem stressful if working with the wrong lender. Mortgage Gumbo removes that with our exclusive pre-approval process called Fast Track. Don't let other lender horror stories scare you, like last-minute turndowns leaving you homeless. Get your exact buying power so you can shop with confidence. When buying a home, you don't want a lender right most of the time. With Fast Track, we get it right all the time. Visit snapsendandsave.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can hear the Ask Gregory podcast, where you'll find episodes based on a financial topic. So if you're looking for help on a specific situation, there's a good chance you'll find it on the Ask Gregory podcast, including episodes on 401ks, taxes, stocks, Social Security, gold, and whether or not you should buy an RV. Hear the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
2 questions. Do you have a pulse? Do you own anything? If you said yes to both, you probably need a will. You may even need a trust. We all know a lawyer. Do you know someone who specializes in estate planning? Do you really trust the husband of your sister's friend from college? Or would you feel better putting your family in the hands of the estate planning attorney of the Total Wealth Authority? I'm Wes Blanchard. What's your plan? Offices in Metairie and at wjblanchardlaw.com.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
If you do not have money set aside, you do not have retirement assets, you don't have significant savings, you're thinking, well, when should I turn on Social Security? I'll answer that for you right now. You should probably work as long as you possibly can and as much as you can, because that means you defer Social Security as long as you can up to age 70. And you can keep working past that. That's fine. But age 70, you have to turn it on because you've maximized it there. And you've created the largest possible payment, and you're going to need all of that.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Find us on the Winning at Life app or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Hey, I'm Gregory Ricks. Welcome back to Winning at Life. I'll add on to what I gave you right before we went to break, and that's how to reach out to my awesome team of people that they're in the business of taking care of you and creating happiness. And that means you're satisfied with the services and help. We need happy outcomes. We need you to be successful. To reach us, you can go to the website, GregoryRicks.com. You can reach out to us through the Winning at Life app. You can call the office, 504-832-9200. You can follow the radio show. You can connect to us through Facebook. I've got a firm page for Gregory Ricks and Associates, but there's also a Winning at Life page and my personal page, which I just shared the streaming of the show. And I ask this of you, if you like what we do, go there and click on that share and spread the word. But if you're looking for help, and we are a no pressure firm, I look at the first visit, it's a fit visit. You know, from your standpoint, here's what and you have to be the judge of what it takes for you to go forward, but some of my guidance is you should judge, are we nice people? Or do we appear to be professional? Do we appear to be successful? You want to do business where a place is successful and going to continue to be. Do you like our philosophy for investment guidance and the things we help you on? And do you think this is a firm you can work with for a long time? That's kind of some of the simple things to decide. Our standpoint is we like nice people. It's going to be nice to our staff. They're good stewards of their money, and they believe in our process. So that's kind of what we look at it, and we look to find that fit. There's a lot of stuff we cover in that hour with you on the first visit, but the only decision really to be made is if you want to come back and have a second visit and start going through some of these tests, so to speak, that we're going to conduct for you, analysis that we're going to provide, like a Social Security analysis, a tax analysis, income and investment analysis. And that is just to name a few of the things we will prepare and put together for you on the next visit. There's probably going to be several other things that we'll take a look at. One is, do you know what your risk number is? Do you know what your retirement number is? You may not. That's probably why you need to sit down and have that talk. But if you don't want to go forward, say, hey, you know, I don't care about seeing that, I don't want to come back, that is okay too. If you're not a fit, it is fine. Nobody's going to stress and worry about it, because we are a place where business is being done. If you don't come on board, we're going to be okay. But we would love to work with you if we can be of help and create happy results for you. So once again, if you're in any listening area, it's real easy. Whether you're in Idaho, Texas, Florida, Alabama, Arkansas, we have the ability to work with you. I also have local offices where you can come in and sit down, and it's just a very comfortable environment, kind of like sitting around the breakfast table and having a conversation is the thought process in creating that at the offices. But we've got a Gulfport office. We've got a Metairie, Louisiana office in the New Orleans area. We've also got a Mandeville office on the North Shore of the New Orleans area. We also have a Baton Rouge office as well. So a lot of driving distance for a lot of people, but we also have the ability, and we're very good at doing the online meetings, Zoom meetings as well. and can even just start with a phone conversation if you want to start that way as well. There's only one number to call. It's area code 504-832-9200. No matter what state you're calling from, if you want to set up a Zoom or video visit or phone conversation, if you're wanting an in-office visit, that's the same number to call. We'll connect you with our relationship team, and that's part of what they're about, is starting that relationship, helping you get that going and building a relationship with our team. And when I mention team, we have multiple teams of people. It's not going to be like your traditional firm. We're going to connect you with a couple of advisors, an analyst, a couple service people, a relationship team member. So you've always got, anywhere from 4 to 5 people always looking out for you. I'm directly involved with each of those teams as well. That's how you get my input directly, because Friday's a day where we kind of review and do planning, and I'm having discussions with the team throughout the week about meetings and helping them where needed there. So very unique, but it's something that you should be expecting. And that way, if maybe your favorite person on that team, say one of the advisors, is out sick or out on vacation, the ball's not getting dropped. You have other people to connect to, and they're all very versed on what's going on with you, so you don't feel at a loss from that standpoint. And I think that's really important, how we've evolved in looking out for you. So once again, if you're curious, go to the website, GregoryRicks.com. Here's that phone number to call. Get something started for you, 504-832-9200. I've got a few topics to talk to you about. I've also created some questions of the day. One of them was, how are you thinking about the market? Which is going to lead to my second question, but we've got 1 week impact on the, let me get here to that right number. Let's see. There we are. Market's off 1 week off, minus 2.63% of the S&P 500. 1 month, it's off 5.36%, and year to date, it's off 4.90%. We go back to 1 year, it's up 6% over the close to 6.4% up over the past 52 weeks. If we go to 2 years, it's up 38%. So the short term's not looking too fun right now. The long term is, we've done really good. We haven't given back all those gains. We've given back some over the 1 year period. How are you feeling about that? Are you worried? And that is something you need to talk about, is how are you allocated? The things that make you feel comfortable about investing and carrying risk is you have to account for time. Time can be your friend. You also have to account for asset allocation. How are you diversified in asset classes? If you got everything in stocks and bonds, you really don't have allocation. You may have diversification in those two asset classes, but you're really not diversified and allocated to account for risk. And you may not also be allocated for time if it's worrying. And if you're taking income from those two asset classes where your money's at risk, volatility is going to accelerate your spend down of assets. You have to account for that. You've got to have some off risk off. Whichever way, you've got to have some off. You've got to have an allocation that's appropriate to take income from for retirement. If you're getting close to retirement, you need to think about maybe those things being reset in place. And that's one reason to have a conversation so you can have proper asset allocation. So we're always educating folks on that. And that's something if you come into our office and sit down with us 3 weeks in a row, we're going to talk to you about that concept right there. And every time you come in, no matter how many times a year or how many years you will do that, that is how we start our meetings, is talking about our investing process and our philosophies so that you understand that. We know it well because we talk about it all day, every day. Another part of that equation is Social Security. We do a Social Security analysis every year for each of you until both of you have turned it on. Then there's no need for us to kind of do that future looking analysis because you know what your check's going to be, subject to cost of living increases. When I come back from the break, I've got a couple things I want to talk to you about on Social Security. There's some changes coming and you need to be aware of it. Most of you probably will not impact you, but if it does, I've got an answer for you. It's all good. I'm so glad you're listening to the show today. It gives me pleasure to have you here with me. Check out my website, GregoryRicks.com, and we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with that Social Security ideas.
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
I have a broker. He has no idea what you and I just talked about.
From your 401k to your IRA to your pension to your Social Security to your Medicare.
Hi, Greg. Appreciate your service to the community.
From your ETFs to your precious metals.
The program helps to ground me. There's some personal, real life there.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts, probably.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Hey, I love your show.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
What does your ideal retirement look like? Is it traveling the world, fishing whenever you want, spending time with the grandkids, or maybe you don't know yet? Hi, I'm Gregory Ricks. Let us help you plan the retirement you deserve. Give us a call or go to GregoryRicks.com to schedule a visit. We are Gregory Ricks & Associates, the Total Wealth Authority.
The firm provides insurance services, investment, and advisory services. Offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management, LLC, and Gregory Ricks & Associates are not affiliated companies.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can listen to the show live, or you can hear a replay of the latest episode of Winning at Life. Whether you're getting a late start on your retirement savings or keeping up with the financial news, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is there on demand. Hear the Winning at Life show on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
We are living in historic times, extraordinary times. A lot of people need help right now, and I want you to remember your local food bank. Now here in New Orleans, it's Second Harvest Food Bank. Over in Mobile, they've got Feeding the Gulf. But you can find your local food bank, feedingamerica.org. Food donations, monetary donations, or I know you've got some free time. Find your local food bank. Support your local food bank, especially in times like this. Do some good. feedingamerica.org.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is a copyright of Down South Strategies for the private use of our audience. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without express consent is prohibited. For podcasts, show information, and contacts to our sponsors, go to winningatlife.com or download the Winning at Life app. If you have a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The federal government's Thrift Savings Plan provides retirement income for federal employees and active duty military. Go to tsp.gov.
Fox
News, I'm Paul Stevens. Vice President J.D. Vance in Greenland on Friday pushing for a U.S. takeover.
Vice President J.D. Vance says he respects Greenland's self-determination, but he also says the U.S. will do a much better job of protecting this semi-autonomous territory than Denmark. Vance framed the importance of Greenland as a matter of national security, saying it's the service members there that would notify the U.S. if a missile were launched against the country.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Protests expected at over 200 Tesla locations today, part of a pushback against Tesla CEO Elon Musk's role in the Trump White House.
And on the flyer for today's Global Day of Action, Tesla takedown calls Musk a menace. It says Musk's wealth is almost entirely tied up in his stake in Tesla, and he's using his wealth to fund a, quote, dangerous agenda.
Fox's Madison Scarpino. America's listening to Fox News.
I know everybody says money can't buy happiness, but it can buy me a boat. It can buy me a truck to pull it. It can buy me a Yeti 110 ice down with some silver bullets.
Welcome back. Winning at Life. Live financial news talk radio. Got a fact sheet from Social Security in 2025. In case you just tuned in, this is Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. You can reach out to us through the Winning at Life app. Check us out on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel. We're streaming there. And my personal page is Gregory Ricks as well. Oh, the website's gregoryricks.com. Okay, now on to Social Security. Fact sheet I looked at this morning, and I said there's some information here we should share. In 2025, an average of almost 69 million Americans per month will receive a Social Security benefit, totaling about 1.6 trillion in benefits paid during the year. Pretty big chunk of change, huh? Got a snapshot on December of 2024 beneficiary data. Retired workers, 51.8 million. Dependents, 2.6 million dependents. For those retired workers, that's $102.3 billion paid out. Average monthly benefit of $1,975. Disabled workers, there's 7.2 million of them in December. 11.4 billion paid out. Average disability benefit is $1,581 a month. Survivors benefits, there's survivors of 5.8 million. 8.9 billion paid out. The monthly average benefit for survivors is $1,546 in average benefit. So if you're going forward, thinking about retiring and such, this should give you an idea of what's going on out there when you speak of the benefit. Like, how much might I get? Well, the average retired worker average is $1,975. Now, your situation is going to be one of two things. Going to be more than that, or could be less than that. Social Security is a major source of income for most people over age 65. Nearly 9 out of 10 people age 65 and older were receiving a Social Security benefit as of December 31, 2024. Social Security benefits represent about 31% of income of people over age 65. Among Social Security beneficiaries age 65 and older, 39% of them are men. Care to guess what percentage is women? 44% of women receive 50% or more of their income from Social Security. So 39% of men and 44% of women receive 50% more of their income from Social Security. Among Social Security beneficiaries 65 and older, 12% of men and 15% of women rely on Social Security for 90% or more of their income. This just brings to, where are you in that process? What age are you? How much do you have set aside for savings? You know, just think about it. And here's some simple math, and using a 4% rule of thumb of income. Do you have $500,000 accumulated in all your sources, whether it's your IRA, your taxable IRA, your Roth, your 401k, your savings account at the bank, your stock holdings? 500,000. If you're getting a 4% income from that, you're getting 20,000 a year. When you look at what's the average worker getting, it's $1,975. So if you tell me, well, Gregory, I don't have that much, I have $250,000. Well, math's easy. You've got about $10,000 a year in capability from assets. Now, can you take more? Can you dig into principal during retirement? Absolutely you can, but you also need to plan it, and you need to plan for things going awry and needing more money, because you also have to plan for when do you run out. That is another analysis I like to do, is when might you run out of money. If it's, say, age 105, I'd say you're good. You might think, if I run out at 98, I'm good. Okay, might be a little worrisome. One of you is going to live into your 90s likely in your household. So, but you have to think about that. If you come back and say, Gregory, I don't have 250,000. I only have 125,000. Well, we are so leaning on Social Security. You've got to figure out how can you work longer, pick up an extra job, save more. I'm not. I hate to bring you bad news, but we got to get on to this saving part to plan how are we going to pay for things going in the future. You have to get started. I'm 55 and I have less than 100,000. Is it too late? No, you need to start saving more. You need to find a way to accumulate more money. You need to make sound choices with the returns you're getting. You need to have it go in the right direction. I don't know that you have time for volatility. You need to probably be more conservative in how you're growing the money. I'm going to talk about something that's working for a lot of people and has in the past also. See where I'm at on the information here. Social Security provides more than just retirement benefits. Retired workers and their dependents accounted for 78.5% of total benefits paid in 2024. Disabled workers and their dependents accounted for 10.5% of total benefits paid in 2024. About 90% of workers aged 21 through 64 in covered employment in 2024 and their families have protection in the event of severe and prolonged disability. About 1 in 4 of today's 20-year-olds, this is good stuff here, because this is data, 1 in 4 of today's 20-year-olds will become disabled and entitled to Social Security disabled workers benefit before reaching age 67. 65% of private sector workforce has no long-term disability insurance. You're thinking of going it on your own. I've been a stock picker since I was 9 years old. I'm exaggerating, but I've heard some of these stories. I do. I just don't want to pay a fee. I'm good at it. So you have long-term insurance, disability insurance, right? You have long-term care insurance. You may be good at it, but when you die, is your spouse going to be good at it? Just a few questions there. You know what data shows? You can average 3% more over time working with an advisor. We have strategies that you're not aware of. We have private equity opportunities that you're not aware of. We have safe money tools that you can't get on your own. Oh, the private equity? Yeah, you can't do that on your own either. The stuff that we have access to. The tax strategies that we utilize, you're unaware. Probably can't do that on your own either. By giving you that example of averaging 3% or more over time is what data shows. 70 basis points on tax strategies and even narrowing capital gain taxes. It's like that so offsets whatever the small fee is you would be charged. The website's GregoryRicks.com. We're going to take a short break. I'll be back with more about Social Security.
If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
I started my retirement about 5 years ago, and I truly am late in life.
Would I be better to just withdraw the money out of my TSP and pay that mortgage off?
My problem is I have champagne tasting of beer salary. What is a balloon note?
Is that cutting it too close?
So will I still be eligible for Medicare?
Is there anything better I can do with the money I transferred into the Roth from my 401k? My goal is to retire at age 60. I'm 54 right now.
Hey, I have a 9-year-old son, and he's got probably $2,500 in. Is there anything we can invest it in?
And I just started a 401k a little late in life.
Then that should be like 10%.
Now, how far in advance do you recommend that someone goes to visit the Social Security office?
I want some money in a casino playing poker.
Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
When I was growing up, my mom relied on old wives' tales to get rid of outdoor bugs. One method included putting 2 pennies in a bag of water and hanging them throughout the backyard. And let's not forget Mom's go-to, the citronella candle, which never worked. It's the 20s. We have science and much more thorough ways to get rid of bugs. Call Mosquito Joe. Mosquito Joe has this time-release capsule that they spray that releases mosquito death for a course of a month. Because mosquitoes suck. NewOrleans.MosquitoJoe.com.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I'm your host, Gregory Ricks, a financial advisor here to answer your questions and help you win with your money.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Simple information from good people.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
I'm young. I'm 22 years old, and I'm just now starting to get into the 401k and the percentage and stuff. How much money do I need to save to, retire at around, 60, 65 years old?
So first off, one of the first rules, if you're getting a match, you need to get 100% of the match. The match is free money. Those that are putting off turning on their 401k because I need that money every month. No, you need to get the match. That's the priority. What's great for you is you're taking advantage of one of the greatest things on the planet, and that's compound interest and time. At age 22, you're not going to have to put away a lot to achieve this goal versus if you wait to 35 or 40, it's going to seem like a mountainous task.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Find us on the Winning at Life app or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
All right, I'm back. Winning at Life is what I'm doing every Saturday from 10 to 1. We're talking about Social Security. I had a few questions for you today. How you feeling about the market? You know, it was off a couple percent yesterday. Just over 4% for the week. You know this happens, right? This thing called volatility. It doesn't always go up. Over time, remember, it's one of the things on proper investing. You have to have time built in for some of your money that's exposed to risk. You also have to have proper asset allocation if you're carrying risk, so you can weather the downturns, and you should have diversification inside of those allocations. You probably should have some safe money. It's one thing when you kind of look at what is Social Security, it's kind of a guaranteed pension. It's an annuity that you have. It's not volatile. It doesn't move. The check just keeps coming every month once you start that. If you're a worker, you're paying in Social Security. You should. If you don't have Social Security being deducted from your check, you should ask why. You might be without Social Security benefits. Just like, uh-oh. So, okay, that's one of the thoughts of the day, market. How are you feeling about the tariffs? You know, people are worried about that. It's worrying the markets. But I tell you, there's a playbook to go back and look at. You know, Ronald Reagan, this is kind of his playbook from back then on resetting things. We have to get off this crack called government spending too much money and government giving out benefits. We have to get off of that. So this is kind of a reset coming to make things going better forward. Here's how I look at the future. We have to leave this better for the next generation. If we don't, they're not going to be happy with us. They'll talk bad about us in the future. I don't want that. We have to leave this as a better place. We have to leave it as a better system, as a better country, a better economy. And another thought, I talked with Dwayne Stein in the first hour about this, local business. Do you do business local? Do you think about that? Do you support local business? I don't think you should buy everything from Amazon. I know it's unavoidable. Sometimes I buy something I didn't even, and it was like, well, what's that Amazon envelope? I said, well, I didn't think I was buying from Amazon, but it showed up in an Amazon envelope. Some businesses use them as their portal, so to speak, from that. So it just happens. But I also do consider it, like, can I go down the street and get it? Can I go to the Best Buy or the local hardware store or the Home Depot? Just think about that. Or the local clothing store, the mom and pop shop. Just think about that in supporting local, because what I want you to help me with is let's keep these local businesses going so we can just all of a sudden go get it right now, so to speak. That's what the convenience is for them. Where, yeah, I know we could order it and it may be here tomorrow or the day after, but what if I wanted it right now? What if I had to have it right now? There's things that aren't available now, and I'm like, gosh, I could really use that right now. Meaning get in my car, go down the street, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and have it and then be back home and plug it in or fix that part. You know, it's just some of that has gone away. Do we need all of that going? So that's just my thoughts on that. My question there. Here, let's talk about something else going on with Social Security. There's a change coming. And this is on Yahoo News. It's also over at sa.gov. Number of other providers are feeding this to us, but we actually talked about it in our advisor team meeting yesterday on things going on with Social Security and how I'm looking at it. And a major change in how Social Security Administration handles benefit overpayments is set to kick in Thursday. Starting March 27th, Social Security will start to withhold 100% of a person's monthly benefit to recoup any outstanding overpayment amount. The current clawback rate, which was set by President Biden, is 10%. The Office of the Chief Actuary estimates the policy will translate to roughly $7 billion in savings over the next decade. They're quoting here, Lee Dudek, we have the significant responsibility to be good stewards of the trust funds for the American people. Acting Commissioner of Social Security in a statement. It is our duty to revise the overpayment repayment method or policy back to full withholding as it was during the Obama administration and first Trump administration. I'm like, look, if you realize you're being overpaid, you need to call Social Security. Don't just like, oh, it's lagniappe, nobody will know. I'm telling you that all this stuff's going away. They're going to take it back. So you may be doing without some monthly checks if you let this go on, because they're going to recoup 100% immediately, meaning they're going to withhold your check till that back is paid off. So don't think they're overlooking it. And, you know, the Doge team has been looking at that. It's some interesting stuff I've been hearing. They were interviewed Brett Baer on Thursday evening on his special report that's on every evening on Fox News, and was talking about how this accounting, they just don't have proper protocols in place. The whole government runs off of one checking account, and if there's a distribution requested, they just send it out without any checks and balances. There's going to start being checks and balances. They got to provide proof of that distribution that's going to go out. They got to run proper general accounting. The government's going to have to start passing audits just like they expect businesses to do. Social Security is going to have to be a good steward of our money. One of the things they shared, and you might not be aware of this, but they said 40% of the inbound calls into Social Security every day is fraud. Folks from all over the planet's calling in, trying to get them to shift your accounts to their bank accounts so they can get your money. And we've got to have a better system. I think we're going to become more digital with more verification systems is what this is going to evolve to. I think we're going to have reduced footprints and offices to go to. This is what's going to evolve and create more efficiency. And what Musk, which is heading up Doge for a few more months, he's not forever in this role, nor can he be, because he's not a paid administrator to be in that job. Him and these other folks that are heading this up, and it's significant, the brain trust there. They're only doing this for a short period of time and expect to get a lot of stuff fixed going forward. And there'll probably have to be some other people put in charge beyond them, that it's their actual paid responsibility. But we need this overspending to stop. And he said if what we're making available is make sure there's enough money to pay people the Social Security benefits instead of so much of it being wasted and going to fraud. The clawback of the payments is especially unfair to seniors who do not have external support to help manage their finances and track their benefits. The clawback's going to happen, and if you're getting overpayment, you need to let them know, because you know it's coming. I know it's painful, but if you owed the bank money, they're going to want their money, or any other system you're involved in. Just keep that in mind. Hey, we're going to take a 6-minute break here. Grab you a snack. If you need another cup of coffee or a fun drink, we're going to be right back in about 6 minutes with Hour 3 of Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
From the Gregory Ricks & Associates Wealth Management Studios, WRNO-FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station.
Those opposed to Doge target Tesla. On Jack Callahan, Fox News. Protests expected at hundreds of Tesla locations today, as Fox's Madison Scarpino reports.
These protesters are a part of the so-called Tesla takedown, and the group is calling today a global day of action against the car maker. According to the Tesla takedown website, the group wants people to, quote, sell your Teslas, dump your stock, and join the picket lines. They're protesting Musk's role in Doge. He spearheaded severing government agencies, but Musk says this is an effort to expose waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. There have been plenty Tesla protests leading up to today. The Tesla takedown group wants these protests to be peaceful and say it opposes any violence or destruction of property.
But 3 people have been charged with arson for setting fire to Tesla vehicles and charging stations. The Trump administration has called those incidents domestic terrorism and has established an FBI task force to investigate them. Vice President Vance visiting the U.S. space base in Greenland yesterday as the administration pushes the island's strategic importance.
Vice President J.D. Vance says he respects Greenland's self-determination, but he also says the U.S. will do a much better job of protecting this semi-autonomous territory than Denmark.
Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people. We hope that they choose to partner with the United States because we're the only nation on earth that will respect their sovereignty and respect their security.
Vance framed the importance of Greenland as a matter of national security, saying it's the service members there that would notify the U.S. if a missile were launched against the country.
Fox's Madeline Rivera reports President Trump says Russia and China are also interested in Greenland. Americans listening to Fox News.
Fox News Audio presents the Fox Nation Investigates podcast, Evil Next Door, exploring the life and crimes of 5 serial predators from across the United States.
It's a very disturbing case.
Never-before-heard interviews and first-hand perspectives.
Described as pure evil. That's a good description.
The Fox Nation Investigates podcast, Evil Next Door. Listen and follow now at foxtruecrime.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Get those W-2s ready. Tax season has arrived. It's the Fox Business Tax Tips. Fox News Radio's Ginny Casola and Hillary Barsky are joined by the hosts of the Fox Business Network to provide you with the latest tips, tricks, and updates on filing your taxes. From deadlines to tax law changes to the latest deductions, we'll cover it all to make sure you keep that hard-earned money where it belongs, in your pocket. Listen and follow the Fox Business Tax Tips at foxnewspodcasts.com.
House Republicans still working to pass a spending and tax bill. Members of the GOP were hoping to have the legislation approved by Easter, but as Fox's Chad Pergram reports from Capitol Hill, it's looking much less likely.
Republicans aim to cut taxes and shave the size of government. But can they do it with a razor-thin majority? House Republicans fretting that their narrow majority could dwindle even more. Tuesday's House contests in heavily Republican districts are closer than expected. Still, some Republicans are optimistic. Regardless, President Trump took out an insurance policy, yanking the nomination of Elise Stefanik to become UN ambassador, tethering her to the House to pass the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. House Speaker Mike Johnson warned President Trump about the numbers issue last fall when he poached 3 House Republicans for his administration. The Senate is now prepping a new framework for the bill, but House conservatives are wary of their Senate colleague.
House Speaker Johnson has been backing away from his deadline in late April, meaning the final version may not be completed for several more weeks. Another close call in the air over the nation's capital.
The close call happened in the same general airspace near Reagan National Airport in D.C., where a commercial plane and Army helicopter collided in January, killing all 67 on board. The FAA says it's investigating Friday's event between a commercial plane and an Air Force T-38 jet. It happened just after Delta Flight 2389 took off for Minneapolis. Fortunately, the Delta jet received a cockpit collision warning alert, and air traffic controllers were able to issue corrective instructions to both aircraft. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
Pope Francis has shown a truly surprising improvement since returning to the Vatican, according to the doctor who coordinated the Pope's 5-week hospitalization stay. The 88-year-old Pope was hospitalized February 14th and has been dealing with a life-threatening bout with double pneumonia. I'm Jack Callahan, and this is Fox News.
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
I have a broker. He has no idea what you and I just talked about.
From your 401k to your IRA to your pension to your Social Security to your Medicare.
Hi, Greg. Appreciate your service to the community.
From your ETFs to your precious metals.
The program helps to ground me. There's some personal, real life there.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts, probably.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Hey, I love your show.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Welcome to Hour 3 of Winning at Life. Live financial news talk radio. Last segment I was covering my fact sheet. I'll give you a few more thoughts to wrap that up. Got a whole bunch of stuff to cram in here in this third hour. A lot of good stuff here. We're going to talk about a safe money strategy and why as well in this hour. If you're new to the show, just joined us, I am Gregory Ricks. We've been doing this show in theory for 15 years. First Saturday in June will be basically our 15-year anniversary for that. Helped a lot of people along the way. A lot of longtime listeners. Show wouldn't be possible without a lot of people's help over the years. You know, like the Mickey O'Neill that I hired as a radio coach when I decided to move forward doing a live radio show taking calls. I was like, oh no, it's live? That's what you want me to do? But I accepted that challenge. It's been a fun ride. Once again, a lot of help. We had James Parker work with me as a co-host for years, which was a great help along the way. Learned a lot from him. Learned a lot from the listeners. Learned a lot. I could just keep naming people that helped along the way, employees along the way that had big parts in the show. So it's always an evolve and learning, as in everything we do in life. We should be evolving and learning along that path. But you're new to the show. I'm CEO, founder of Gregory Ricks and Associates, a total wealth authority, advisors and retirement strategies. We help people with their money in planning, investing, risk management, retirement analysis, Social Security analysis, tax strategies. Yeah, Uncle Sam's going to want some of your profits. Judge Learned Hand said we are under no obligation to pay any more than the law requires. I agree with that. I don't need to tip the government. I think I pay them enough. I bet you agree as well. I just don't want to drop another 20 in the envelope and send to them if I don't have to. There's somebody else that needs it more. So, and if you want to find out more about me, the website's gregoryricks.com. And let's see, where are we at here? Where's my book? Is it sitting around here somewhere? There it is, over here. I'm going to hold it up. We're streaming on Facebook Live. I can get better at holding this up to the camera for those on the YouTube channel and Facebook Live streaming the show. Hey, everybody. Retirement deserves a helpful hand, a guide to the destination you deserve. This is a great book. It's not going to take you forever to read. It should be a short read, but it's from a fundamentals standpoint, talking about the importance of planning. And oh my gosh, you need to have planning. You also have to consider longevity. That's discussed. Market volatility, retirement income, Social Security. That's a few of the chapters right there. You can request a book on Amazon. See, I don't hate on them, but order you a truckload of books, give out to all your friends. But here's something I'm going to do for you. I want you to have a copy. I want you to have a signed copy. I want you to reach out to my office, call 504-832-9200, or email info@gregoryricks.com and request a book. We'll need information of how to mail it to you. And if there's somebody that you think would benefit from this, send that information to us or call us. We'll send them out a book too. Need to spread the word. Another neat thing we've got going on, I talk about the book, the radio show, the great team of teams that we have, because in working with you, it's a team of people. These other firms you go to, you're just connected to one person, or it might be a little firm where it's a advisor and an assistant. Essentially, we're connecting you with two advisors, assistant, analyst, couple service people, and a relationship team people. So technically, you're kind of connected with about 5 people all the time. And there's somebody on that team's going to call you every quarter. There's always somebody there to help you. You'll see multiple people interact when you're coming in for a meeting. If somebody leaves that team, you will not feel any drop-off. Somebody else will be plugged in, but you got these other people that you're familiar with. And here's the thing. People get connected to one advisor, and if your advisor leaves, oh no, what am I going to do? You're never going to have that happen because of the team of people, and they're all excellent. They want to help you. They want to be a sounding board, and they want to provide excellence. And at the end of the day, they want you to be happy. So that's kind of what we do from a team standpoint in advising in the firm. My radio show has been a great resource over the years, and there's tremendous content over on our YouTube channel. So go over there and join our YouTube channel. No cost. Just sign up so you get notices of what's going on. On the website, GregoryRicks.com, the news blog is a good bit of the articles that I read. Something we've rolled out earlier this year is Winning at Life, the Gregory Ricks Retirement Show. We're on television. New Orleans area, it's WGNO ABC channel, Saturday at 6:30 a.m. and Saturdays at 10 a.m. So it's aired twice today already. I think we had another episode aired at 11 a.m. How about that? And then Sunday, tomorrow, you can catch it on VUE at 11:30 a.m. So it's on VUE Fox at 10 a.m. today, 11 a.m. today, and Sunday at 10:30. Oh, there's the music. I've got some for the other listening areas. I've got some other stations carrying the show. I'll give that to you when we come back from the break. We'll be right back with Winning at Life.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
Could this be your Social Security, your 401k, pension, lump sum, your debt, student debt, credit cards?
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years. Sometimes I'll pull over to the side of the road and just listen.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Gumbo Nation, this is Dwayne Stein. My team and I make dreams come true daily. Buying a home could seem stressful if working with the wrong lender. Mortgage Gumbo removes that with our exclusive pre-approval process called Fast Track. Don't let other lender horror stories scare you, like last-minute turndowns leaving you homeless. Get your exact buying power so you can shop with confidence. When buying a home, you don't want a lender right most of the time. With Fast Track, we get it right all the time. Visit snapsendandsave.com.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can hear the Ask Gregory podcast, where you'll find episodes based on a financial topic. So if you're looking for help on a specific situation, there's a good chance you'll find it on the Ask Gregory podcast, including episodes on 401ks, taxes, stocks, Social Security, gold, and whether or not you should buy an RV. Hear the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
2 questions. Do you have a pulse? Do you own anything? If you said yes to both, you probably need a will. You may even need a trust. We all know a lawyer. Do you know someone who specializes in estate planning? Do you really trust the husband of your sister's friend from college? Or would you feel better putting your family in the hands of the estate planning attorney of the Total Wealth Authority? I'm Wes Blanchard. What's your plan? Offices in Metairie and at wjblanchardlaw.com.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
If you do not have money set aside, you do not have retirement assets, you don't have significant savings, you're thinking, well, when should I turn on Social Security? I'll answer that for you right now. You should probably work as long as you possibly can and as much as you can, because that means you defer Social Security as long as you can up to age 70. And you can keep working past that. That's fine. But age 70, you have to turn it on because you've maximized it there. And you've created the largest possible payment, and you're going to need all of that.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Find us on the Winning at Life app or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Hey, y'all. Winning at Life. I am your host, Gregory Ricks, CEO, founder of Gregory Ricks and Associates, Advisors and Retirement Strategies. I was just looking on the break of folks reaching out, looking for help. Even on our website, we have a chat box and somebody to interact with you to move forward. You're not going to get investment advice in the chat box, but what you're going to do is get direction and connect with ultimately with one of our team members. And we had a visitor a little bit ago go in there as one example I'm going to give you, and it just says, how can I begin investing, is the visitor's question. And Jen is who assisted him on the site, and Jen said, I am happy to help. See, we're trying to bring happiness. So then they have an interaction, and Jen covers the different things we do, and then he gives information about his age and income and what he's looking to do, and we will connect the advisor team to assist him with planning on Monday, whatever it is he needs to help him go forward. And that's where, even if you call the office, I give out the number, there's somebody's going to pick up the phone and answer and speak to you. And then we'll get the advisor team on it on Monday or whenever you're looking for some help. And the same thing if you just send out an email requesting some assistance, the info@gregoryricks.com. We're here to help, here to make life better. We even have some sort of texting system as well. It moves through, and you can reach out to us through the Winning at Life app, and if you do so when you're on any of the Facebook pages as well. So there's some methodology there also. When I went to break, I was covering showtimes on the TV show. So New Orleans, we have WGNO ABC Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m., WVUE on Fox Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 11 a.m., and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Over in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, we air twice tomorrow for the listeners there. WDAM's the NBC affiliate, Sunday at 10 a.m. and on the ABC it's HDAM, the ABC station, Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Folks over in Baton Rouge might want to record the show if you don't get up early, but we actually get a lot of response. People are up at 4:30 watching the show on WAFB, the CBS affiliate over there. And over in Biloxi, Gulfport, WLOX ABC Saturday at 5:30 a.m. and DXXV NBC Sunday at 5 p.m. I think we're picking up another showtime here in the near future, it looks like, in Gulfport, so that's pretty cool as well. So the TV show's available for you as well. Some other resources such as the Roadmap Beyond Retirement. And this is planning. You should communicate with your family and have a resource. If something happens to you, how and where they go, and some guidance to what's going on. You can create this document. And we built this a number of years ago, and it's a great resource. But go to GregoryRicks.com/roadmap, and you can download a copy of that. Another important guide I have for you is Social Security Decisions Guide. That'd be Gregory Ricks/Social Security. We had a great full house. We ran out of chairs. We had to go hunt more chairs. We had that many people show up recently for the Social Security event. It was pretty awesome. So I think we're caught up on that for the moment. The other topic I wanted to touch bases with you on, I saw this and I'm like, when we cover our investment philosophy, and I want to just talk with you about that for a couple of minutes. And, one of the things we covered in our Social Security event, it was Social Security and investment strategies. And we have to account for risk. But I sit down in a visit with a long-time client and visited with them a little bit. Just some casual conversation before Luke took over the meeting and went through everything that's going on with them, kind of looked at how they've done the past year and made adjustments for what we see coming and some changes that they wanted made and how in what they're looking for. And they're doing really well. But longtime client, and this is one that, you know, worked and had money in stocks and accumulated utilizing some risk assets over time. But when he got to hit that retirement button, the eject button from work, him and his wife wanted to be more conservative. What they wanted was risk off strategies. And that is fine. You know, that is easier for us to do versus somebody says, I only want risk. That typically is not going to go well for long term because you need to have a stable place that the income comes from. We don't want volatility. Volatility will accelerate the spin down of your assets. We got plenty of workbooks to take you through that and show you examples of how that can impact you with down years. And it's been nice. We've been running a nice decade of returns, but what's going to hurt people is having a couple back-to-back negative years and taking income from risk. So if you're new to the show, over the years, we have this investment philosophy called invest 50-50. It's kind of a loose rule of thumb of risk on assets and risk off assets. And one of the rule of thumb, like if you're age 20 and investing, it's easy to be 80% or more in risk. Why? You've got a time horizon of 40 years. And we know, based on history, if you've allowed your money to work in the market 20 years, you can look at any 20-year period and you're always ahead at the end of 20 years. That's what data tells us from that standpoint. But as you grow older, that should be reduced, meaning if you reach age 50, that's kind of a loose rule of thumb that you probably shouldn't have more than 50% of your assets connected to volatility. So that risk on, risk off assets, the risk on, we look at basically 4 areas in risk and giving you asset allocation. One is we call core. And that's basically a stock and bond mix. So that's kind of about a quarter of the assets. Then volatility control we want to have, and that's where we use buffers from that standpoint to minimize or limit downside exposure. There's some caps to the upside, but the biggest thing is it limits that, and it's a cycle that resets strategically over 12-month periods. Those buffers that, over a 12-month period, it limits that downside and then resets. It's basically, I'll define as a 12-month cycle. The other class is kind of an income part of the investment portfolio where we're utilizing dividend yield. So that creates a different type of allocation and stability. And then on the other side, there's one other. And if you qualify for this, there's private wealth, private equity, where it gives you opportunity. It's essentially, you probably have to have $1 million plus in investable assets. And this kind of has a clock on it. But private equity is something that potentially could make you some good returns, something we need to talk about. And if you're familiar with that, you probably want access to it. And it's really something you can't get without reaching out to us. So that's the risk on assets. Now, what about risk off? We want to utilize fixed tools that gives you fixed income. Like we can go out there and get 5, 6, 7% on fixed income tools that has short-term money that you're not having to make long-term commitments. It's nice to be able to go and get 5 and 6% yields on money. And also we utilize index-linked tools where you can get the upside of the market and have no downside. On this risk-off tools is where if we're turning on income, this is where we want to take the distributions from, because that gives that risk-on money time to work and take advantage of time and asset allocation. The risk-off ultimately is going to make you feel better because you don't have all of your money exposed to risk. And importantly, you have to have a place to take distributions from in the future that does not get impacted by volatility. When we come back from the break, I'm going to talk to you about annuities. Yes, that conversation's coming up. We'll be right back.
You all are so good. I've listened to you for years.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I am near retirement, and I wish I would have been listening to y'all for the last couple of years.
Learn the ins, outs, do's, don'ts, rules, and tools of the financial world.
I have a broker. He has no idea what you and I just talked about.
From your 401k to your IRA to your pension to your Social Security to your Medicare.
Hi, Greg. Appreciate your service to the community.
From your ETFs to your precious metals.
The program helps to ground me. There's some personal, real life there.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and wherever else you can find podcasts, probably.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Hey, I love your show.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. The firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
What does your ideal retirement look like? Is it traveling the world, fishing whenever you want, spending time with the grandkids, or maybe you don't know yet? Hi, I'm Gregory Ricks. Let us help you plan the retirement you deserve. Give us a call or go to GregoryRicks.com to schedule a visit. We are Gregory Ricks & Associates, the Total Wealth Authority.
The firm provides insurance services, investment, and advisory services. Offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management, LLC, and Gregory Ricks & Associates are not affiliated companies.
If you like money, you'll love the Winning at Life app. On the Winning at Life app, you can listen to the show live, or you can hear a replay of the latest episode of Winning at Life. Whether you're getting a late start on your retirement savings or keeping up with the financial news, Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is there on demand. Hear the Winning at Life show on the Winning at Life app, your wallet's favorite app.
We are living in historic times, extraordinary times. A lot of people need help right now, and I want you to remember your local food bank. Now here in New Orleans, it's Second Harvest Food Bank. Over in Mobile, they've got Feeding the Gulf. But you can find your local food bank, feedingamerica.org. Food donations, monetary donations, or I know you've got some free time. Find your local food bank. Support your local food bank, especially in times like this. Do some good. feedingamerica.org.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks is a copyright of Down South Strategies for the private use of our audience. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without express consent is prohibited. For podcasts, show information, and contacts to our sponsors, go to winningatlife.com or download the Winning at Life app. If you have a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Help us fight youth homelessness. Go to covenanthouse.org.
Fox News, I'm Jack Callahan. The death toll from the massive earthquake in Burma has jumped to more than 1,600. Rescue efforts hampered by the country's ongoing civil war. Another close call near Washington's Reagan National Airport.
Friday's event between a commercial plane and an Air Force T-38 jet happened just after Delta Flight 2389 took off for Minneapolis. Fortunately, the Delta jet received a cockpit collision warning alert, and air traffic controllers were able to issue corrective instructions.
Fox's Carmen Roberts. Opposed Doge protesters are targeting Tesla today.
And the group is calling today a global day of action against the car maker. According to the Tesla Takedown website, the group wants people to, quote, sell your Teslas, dump your stock, and join the picket lines.
Fox's Madison Scarpino. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey y'all, we're on the back side of the slope, downhill part of the slope. Not much left, but I got a lot to cover with you. Hey, by the way, this show wouldn't be possible without a bunch of sponsors. Dwayne Stein of MortgageGumbo.com. He actually was a contributor in hour one. He brings it. He really does. It was some great. You should go back and listen to the show. Being we're doing the Facebook Live and YouTube channel, you know, it's available for replay. It's going to replay right after we end the show at 1 o'clock. And audio will be uploaded typically on Mondays for replay on most any place you download also as well. So a lot of opportunities there, but we do reduce that down so it's a tighter, shorter version. It's not a 3-hour listen, but you could listen to different segments of the show by pushing through it as well. But you should go listen to that first hour with Dwayne if you missed that today. And all of you that listen, oh my goodness, it's so awesome. All the people that just tune in and listen to what I share. Jude Heath of J. Heath Company CPAs. You know, he's into it. It's tax season. I was trying to get him on this month, but he says, look, I'll come on more, but it's going to be after tax season. So they're working hard for you over there. So J. Heath and Company CPAs over in Metairie, Louisiana. And Wes Blanchard, W.J. Blanchard Law. And I don't know if I'll get to it, but I got a little piece on estate planning, the why. We'll see. But the reason you need to have a will and maybe a revocable trust, but you darn sure need a power of attorney and at least a will in case something happens. Just think about that. He's a great one for that and any other things that you need help regarding the law. I hate mosquitoes, but I love New Orleans Mosquito Joe. So they've treated my property for years. You need to tell them Gregory sent you. Awesome job, because I don't like those things. You know, actually, if I go out there and want to enjoy the sunset or get a little bit of sunshine, I am tending to do more mornings now to go get my cup of coffee and go sit outside about 15, 20 minutes, get a little sunlight, you know, the vitamin D from that. It's a health thing, but it's also kind of a peaceful time early in the morning as well. And I appreciate not having any bugs bothering me. So that's a big help with New Orleans Mosquito Joe. Good friends of ours, Batali's Deli and Catering over in Metairie. Go get you some lunch over there or some takeout or catering. Gregory Ricks and Associates, the Total Wealth Authority, advisors and retirement strategies. Show wouldn't be possible without that firm and that great team to take care of you there. Go to the website gregoryricks.com or call the office 504-832-9200. Another friend of mine, Jeff, over at jjsaudiovideo.com. They handle security systems, our video cameras at all of our offices, at my home, They do all kind of work like that. Even if, hey, you want to create you a movie theater, he does that stuff too. Sound systems. Awesome guy there that'll take care of you. Tell him Gregory sent you. His website is jjsaudiovideo.com. Phone number is 504. You ready? 504-638-0906. jjsaudiovideo.com. Awesome. We got that squared away. Looking at an article here, caught my attention on Money Week, but it says annuity rates hit 16-year high. Is now a good time to buy an annuity? You know, we've got clients, just like I mentioned that client story before we went to break, and I sat down and had a talk with him. And that's where during his working life, he carried a good bit of risk, and there were some times where it didn't do too good. And then the stock of the companies that he was involved in, and one of them held quite a bit of holdings of the company he worked for, and the stock tanked for a period of years and then come back and rewarded the patients nicely. But it was some scary times, but it also caused him to diversify. But when he reached retirement, he wanted to really dial that back, that risk. And I remember sitting down with him years ago where he said he wanted no more risk. We've got a lot of clients that are risk off. Just because you work with Gregory Ricks and Associates doesn't mean you have to carry risk. But on the other side, at some point, you're going to have some risk off assets in the mix. Why? Because you're going to want to take income. But I just want to share with the listeners that if you're looking for help and you don't want to carry risk, but you want strategies that will carry you forward, make returns, and create retirement income, we have risk off strategies. You ought to look at it. It's a way of insuring your retirement, insuring your money. And that word is annuities. Now, there's lots of companies out there, and I don't know, you probably would have 100+ different kinds of annuities to sort from. And I tell you what, there's a process that we look at, and we really shrink it down. And I'll tell you, if there's 100 to choose from, we have it down to a preferred 10 that are best suited for you. And it's something we constantly analyze and make adjustments, but there isn't but a few that we really like. And that's kind of what we like to go with, and that shrinks it down. It's just not going to be a whole giant smorgasbord. Life's better that way. But these are tools that you can use to accumulate money, to protect money, and generate income from, and make adjustments to that in the future years. Now, keep in mind, the annuities are backed up by the insurance companies. They're the ones picking up the risk from that standpoint. But the article, once again, says annuities hit a 16-year high with retirees enjoying bumper incomes and return for their pensions. Those are great income tools. They're great and they don't have to be annuitized. You can just set up pure distribution systems like you could on a market account there. But with the interest rates, if you've picked up an annuity some 10, 15, 20 years ago, or over the past 20 years, you should probably give us a call and look, can I update and have my annuity updated to current yields? Because the world's much better than what you could get 5-10 years ago. We were in a 1% world, meaning the underlying bond portfolio was only supporting 1 to 2%. Now these underlying bond portfolios that support the annuities is probably 5-6%. They have larger caps, larger interest rate paying out of that, something for you to take advantage of. And if you're looking for what do I do that gives me a risk-off strategy that will help me for the retirement for the next 10, 20, 30 years, this is a great time to look at adding that tool to the mix. And remember, you could go basically a complete risk-off strategy, especially with what yields are today. And it's something to reach out to us. And annuity rates are closely linked to government bond yields, which have surged to their highest level since January in 2008. Yields are affected by interest rates. The rise in interest rates over the past few years have been really good for annuity incomes. Another analyst at Hargraves Lanson says it's a reversal of fortune for a market that many had thought had been killed off by combination of rock bottom interest rates and the choices. You can get more yield. Rising interest rates have seen incomes climb in recent years, and people's interests have risen along with them. I'm trying to give you a few quotes here from the Money Week article, but 6 providers of annuities to new customers, and last year 69% of annuity buyers switched, taking an annuity from a different provider. There's people upgrading and taking advantage of that. I see we missed the music for the break, so we're going to go ahead and jump to a break right here. I was talking past my break. We're going to take a short break. I'll be right back, and we'll continue the discussion.
If you've got a financial situation and you're not quite sure what to do, you better call Gregory.
I started my retirement about 5 years ago, and I truly am late in life.
Would I be better to just withdraw the money out of my TSP and pay that mortgage off?
My problem is I have champagne tasting of your salary. What is a balloon note?
Is that cutting it too close?
So will I still be eligible for Medicare?
Is there anything better I can do with the money I transferred into the Roth from my 401k? My goal is to retire at age 60. I'm 54 right now.
Hey, I have a 9-year-old son, and he's got probably $2,500 in. Is there anything we can invest it in?
And I just started a 401k a little late in life.
Then that should be like 10%.
Now, how far in advance do you recommend that someone goes to visit the Social Security office?
I want some money in a casino playing poker.
Gregory Ricks and Associates, 504-832-9200 or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
When I was growing up, my mom relied on old wives' tales to get rid of outdoor bugs. One method included putting 2 pennies in a bag of water and hanging them throughout the backyard. And let's not forget Mom's go-to, the citronella candle, which never worked. It's the 20s. We have science and much more thorough ways to get rid of bugs. Call Mosquito Joe. Mosquito Joe has this time-release capsule that they spray that slowly releases their mosquito death over a course of a month. Because mosquitoes suck. NewOrleans.MosquitoJoe.com.
Ask Gregory is a financial podcast from the guys who bring you Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
I'm your host, Gregory Ricks, a financial advisor here to answer your questions and help you win with your money.
Find the Ask Gregory podcast on the Winning at Life app, the iHeartRadio app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Simple information from good people.
Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The Ricks Report with Gregory Ricks.
I'm young, I'm 22 years old, and I'm just now starting to get into the 401k and the percentage and stuff. How much money do I need to save to, retire at around, 60, 65 years old?
So first off, one of the first rules, if you're getting a match, you need to get 100% of the match. The match is free money. Those that are putting off turning on their 401k because I need that money every month. No, you need to get the match. That's the priority. What's great for you is you're taking advantage of one of the greatest things on the planet, and that's compound interest and time. At age 22, you're not going to have to put away a lot to achieve this goal versus if you wait to 35 or 40, it's going to seem like a mountainous task.
Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks, Saturday mornings at 10 on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Find us on the Winning at Life app or GregoryRicks.com. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Hey, y'all. We're running out of time. I'm Gregory Ricks, your host, Winning at Life. We'll be back here next Saturday, at from 10 to 1 also. Picking back up on that article talking about utilizing annuities, a risk-off strategy, and we work with a lot of clients that don't want volatility. They don't want downside exposure. And they're having awesome experience utilizing a risk-off strategy where the insurance company is carrying the risk. They're picking up the risk for the annuity. And essentially, to understand how they do it, they use bond portfolios that support those products. On a fixed annuity, the insurance company is guaranteeing the money, and they use bond portfolios from that. From that gives you index upside or interest rate yield, or you can have a combination of both. And we're in a much better interest rate environment, so it gives you more upside to capture the market upside. Like using a fixed indexed annuity gives you the upside of, say, the S&P 500, subject to a cap or participation rate, but it has a floor that won't be invaded. It can't go below that floor. So you have no downside exposure to your principal. What's the worst case? Your return could be zero on a negative year. The upside is a piece of the upside of that index. Now, in this article from Money Week was talking about here, shopping around for an annuity can get you a better deal compared to staying with your current pension provider. It means that typical retiree with $100,000 in retirement would receive about $500 more a year from their annuity compared if they had bought it in January of 2024. Over their retirement, a 65-year-old with typical life expectancy would get an extra $10,000 from their annuity. Pete Carroll, head of annuities at Standard Life, comments, annuity rates continue to improve, offering retirees even stronger total incomes. So we expect interest rates to move down somewhere in the future. So that's one reason. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad to do this next year or the year after, because I don't believe we're going anytime soon back to that 1% world. So I think these opportunities are going to continue forward. But what you have is that underlying bond portfolio is going to support that index strategy well into the future. I also got another article from Tony Robbins. I talked about his book, The Holy Grail of Investing. Good read as well. In addition to my book, The Retirement Deserves a Helpful Hand. But in the article, trying to see who is the writer is Dana Sullivan Kilroy on that. Yeah, it's from thestreet.com, by the way, is the publisher of this article here. But he starts with many Americans struggle with planning for retirement that will allow them to live as comfortably as they do during the working years. It can take years of careful savings and planning to set up streams of income that will provide a stable income. Having IRAs, 401ks, and perhaps even a pension to supplement Social Security benefits is crucial. But there can be another stream worth considering. And Tony basically explains that there are two general categories of annuities: immediate annuities and deferred annuities. Within each of these are variables. So this is an overview of two umbrella strategies. The immediate annuities, think of it like a pension, where you get a specific amount of monthly payments over the rest of your life, or it can be a specific number over a fixed number of years. Deferred annuities can be deferred interest annuities or deferred indexed annuities that combines upside of an example, say the S&P 500 and or interest credited there. So when he talks about with a deferred annuity, you can pay the insurance company either in a lump sum or make payments over a number of years, but instead of receiving the monthly amount immediately, your money is invested in tax-deferred account, and you can start collecting when you're ready. You can start collecting at 50 or 60 or 65. And anyone who's seen their savings invested in the stock market shrink, as plenty of people are kind of seeing right now, so they're kind of like, oh, is there another choice, might consider investing in an annuity, since this sort of investment is unlikely to be wiped out. You'll want to make sure you invest with a highly rated company and look into your state's guarantee association limits, he states in the article. State guarantee associations work similarly to the FDIC protections for bank accounts and have similar limits of the $250,000 per account. When Robbins compares a few types of secure income streams, he concludes that annuities can be guaranteed income that provide a higher stream of monthly income than CDs or bonds. When combined with Social Security benefits and ideally with other streams of retirement income such as an IRA, 401k, annuities can help retirees maintain their standard of living. I think that's some great information there, and that kind of talks about our risk off side. So I kind of connected you with two articles that are talking about those choices there. That is something that should be considered. If you're working with another shop, you probably should take a look at what we're doing. If you're shopping, you should definitely take a look at what we're doing, because we do look at the marketplace, and there's a lot of choices out there. And remember, they're all working from the same yield, so you got to be careful, like these bonuses and so forth can be a little bit misleading, and some of these, the way income riders work can be a little bit misleading. So we want the maximum growth out of that underlying bond yield that's working for them. We shrink that down. We've done this for a long time, and we know what's the best to look at, and we shrink this down to about 10 companies that we really like. And this is an observation that's always ongoing, and we can give you the reasons behind those selections as well. It's just really important to make good decisions and have your proper asset allocations in place for investing. Remember, you need time, you need asset allocation, and you need diversification. You need diversification on annuities as well. I wouldn't put everything in one annuity. If you want to learn more, check us out at the website, GregoryRicks.com. Come in for a visit or set up a phone visit or a Zoom. Reach out to our office. The phone number is 504-832-9200. Once again, the website has a chat box. You can email info@GregoryRicks.com. I got a lot of ways for you to reach out to us, and we've got downloads and can send you out some information if you'd like regarding these topics. Hey, great spending 3 hours with you here today. I look forward to doing it again next week, and give me a shout out during the week if you'd like as well. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks. Y'all have a great weekend. Be blessed.
Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Gregory Ricks & Associates, Incorporated. AE Wealth Management does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Gregory Ricks & Associates, Incorporated are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio show was intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for a financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Gregory Ricks & Associates is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Gregory Ricks & Associates. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences, including but not limited to a need for additional tax withholding or estimated tax payments, the loss of certain tax deductions and credits, and higher taxes on Social Security benefits and higher Medicare premiums. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. Neither AE Wealth Management nor advisors providing investment advisory services through AE Wealth Management recommend or facilitate the buying or selling of cryptocurrencies. Third parties and guests of the show are not affiliated with, nor do their opinions reflect those of Gregory Ricks & Associates or AE Wealth Management. AE Wealth Management provides services without regard to political affiliation, and the views of individual advisors are not necessarily the views of AE Wealth Management. We are Winning at Life with Gregory Ricks.
WRNO FM, New Orleans, #1 on